It's late evening in a high-rise apartment kitchen in Shenzhen. Dinner is finished. The plates are stacked. And the person standing at the sink does not touch a single one of them. She pulls a thin gray mat out of a drawer, lays it flat on the counter, and sets the dirty dishes down on top of it. Then she walks away. No water, no soap, no machine with a steel belly swallowing the plates. An hour later she comes back, wipes each plate once with the back of her hand, and stacks it in the cupboard. No scrubbing, no detergent smell. Nothing in the sink but the echo of water she never even ran. That mat right there is the reason this video exists. Because that mat is not a clever towel. It is a machine. It is a dishwasher with no door, no motor, no plumbing, and no price tag for soap, ever again. And a version of it has already come off a production line and is sitting in demonstration kitchens that normal people can walk into and touch. Hold that image because there's a number you need next. Let me be clear about what actually happened, because it sounds like science fiction and it is not science fiction. At the center of this is a material that looks like a sheet of gray paper. It is not paper. It is a sandwich of ceramics and a catalytic film a few microns thick. Put a dirty plate on it, and the surface of the film starts doing the one thing that has always been the expensive part of washing dishes. It starts making the cleaning agent itself. On its surface. From light and moisture and ordinary air. Free. No pump. No spray arm. No heating element. No electric motor spinning jets of water at pressure. No plastic bag of detergent tabs. Just a film that produces its own chemistry, powered by nothing you have to buy. A researcher at the lab that built it did the demonstration that is now burned into my head. He scrapped a wok with a dried egg yolk on it, laid it face down on the mat, and put 2 ordinary daylight lamps over it. 20 minutes later, he flipped it over and ran his thumb across the surface. The egg was gone. Not moved around. Gone. Broken down into carbon dioxide and water, which is what grease is when you take it apart all the way. Now here's the number you need before any of this takes on weight. The dishwasher is not a machine. It is a subscription wearing a machine's clothes. The average American household runs the dishwasher roughly 5 times a week. Every one of those cycles burns between 3 and 8 gallons of water, a third of a kilowatt-hour of electricity, and 1 detergent tablet that costs between 30 and 50 cents. Do the arithmetic across a year and one household quietly spends well over $100 on consumables alone, on top of the machine it already paid $800 for. Scale that across the developed world, roughly 150 million households with dishwashers, and you are looking at an industry worth tens of billions of dollars a year that does not actually sell clean plates. It sells the chemical supply chain underneath clean plates. And here, this is the part that should bother you. The machine doing all of that has not fundamentally changed since the 1880s. Since before the electric light was common in homes. The washer in your kitchen is the washer Josephine Cochrane patented in 1886. Spray arms, hot water, detergent, a rinse. The entire modern dishwasher industry is 140 years of refinements bolted onto one unchanged idea. Here's the trap we've built for ourselves, and it's almost funny once you see it. Dishwasher detergent is a business model, not an ingredient. Walk down the cleaning aisle and look at the math. The tablet, the gel pod, the rinse aid, the dishwasher salt, the machine cleaner you are supposed to run once a month. Each one is cheap on its own. Together they are a standing charge on every household that owns the box. The industry does not make its money when you buy the machine. It makes its money when you buy the refill. Every month. Forever. That is not an accident. That is the plan. It is the same trick as the printer that costs $30 while the ink costs $60, and the coffee machine that only accepts one brand of expensive pod. The hardware is a loss leader that gets you inside the subscription. The subscription is the product. So pay attention to what happened next. Because a group of engineers in China asked one annoying little question that breaks the whole game. What if the thing that cleans your plates stopped being a machine you buy and became a surface you already own? What if the chemistry stopped being a subscription and started being free? In this video, 6 real technologies built, tested, published, and in one case already shipping, that each attack the dishwasher from a different angle. Number 1, the catalytic film that cleans with light. Number 2, the machine that cleans with sound instead of water pressure. Number 3, the device that turns ordinary tap water into its own detergent. Number 4, the chemistry that attacks the refill model directly. Number 5, the faucet attachment that makes washing up without a machine actually work. And number 6, the robot that replaces the dishwasher without being a dishwasher. Then, at the end, the one that actually left the lab. The one with real customers and a real order book. Because that one is the reason this video exists at all. If this kind of story is your kind of story, hit like right now. It takes a serious amount of digging to put one of these together, and it genuinely helps. And subscribe, ring the bell, because the next one depends on you being here when it drops. How we got into this trap in the first place. The dishwasher was invented in 1886 by a woman named Josephine Cochrane, a wealthy socialite from Shelbyville, Illinois, who was reportedly more cross about her servants chipping her heirloom china than she was about the labor involved. She built a machine that held the dishes in wire racks and blasted them with jets of hot, soapy water. It worked. It won a prize at the Chicago World's Fair in 1893. Hotels bought it. Restaurants bought it. Households eventually bought it, once the design shrank and the price dropped. Now, here is the detail that matters for this entire video. Cochrane's machine did exactly one thing. It sprayed hot, soapy water at plates until the food fell off. That is it. That is the entire history. Everything after that, the heating element, the food grinder, the sensor that knows when the water is clean, the Wi-Fi, the app, the tablet that changes color when it dissolves, has been a refinement of one single idea. More water pressure at your plates. Every innovation in this industry has been a faster, quieter, smarter way to do the same thing Cochrane did with a hand pump in 1886. Nobody questioned the idea itself. The machine that cleans with soap and hot water was treated like physics. It is not physics. It is a design decision made in the 19th century, kept alive by the economics of selling you the soap. And that economic layer is exactly why the door finally opened. Because a technology does not need to be better than the incumbent to replace it. It only needs to break the incumbent's business model somewhere the incumbent cannot follow. The dishwasher industry cannot follow the story you are about to see, because the new approach does not compete on washing. Competes on the refill. The old machine sells soap forever. The new machine, if it works, sells nothing at all. You can't defend a subscription against a competitor that simply does not want the money. That is the structural wound. Now, before we get to the countdown, one honest note about sourcing. Everything in this video comes from published papers, university announcements, patent filings, and factory documentation. Every figure I quote you can find in the sources linked below. Go check them. That's the point. If half of what I'm about to tell you was easy to verify from the headlines, this channel wouldn't need to exist. So, number 1. The catalytic film. This is the technology from the cold open, and I need you to understand why it is the scariest entry on this list for the incumbents. The film is built from a ceramic base coated with something the patents describe as a modified titanium dioxide layer. You have met titanium dioxide before. It is the white pigment in paint and toothpaste. What the labs discovered is that you can engineer it to do something else entirely. When light hits that surface, the film generates what chemists call reactive oxygen species. That is a polite way of saying it produces short-lived, extremely aggressive molecules that rip organic molecules apart. Food residue is organic molecules. Grease is organic molecules. Bacteria, they are organic molecules too. The film does not wash your plate. It decomposes the dirt on your plate, molecule by molecule, into carbon dioxide and water vapor, which simply float away. This is not new in physics. Photocatalytic surfaces exist and have been studied for decades. What is new is that a whole industry quietly concluded they were too slow to matter, and a group of Chinese researchers decided to test that assumption properly. The published results changed the conversation because of 3 numbers. First, speed. In the demonstration environment, the film removed standard test soiling, the same cooked-on starch mixtures the appliance industry uses to rate dishwashers, in under 30 minutes. That is not as fast as a cycle in a modern machine, which runs about 2 hours. It is faster than the human being loading the machine. Second, energy. The film needs a light source, but a set of ordinary LED strips draws roughly 10 watts. A single dishwasher cycle draws about 1,000 watts of heat and motor power for up to 2 hours. Run the film every day for a month and you have used less electricity than one cycle of the machine it replaces. Third, and this is the number the industry reads with the least comfort cost. The roll-to-roll production line in Suzhou is printing this film by the meter. The bill of materials for the sheet that covers a standard kitchen counter is a few dollars. A one-time payment once for a surface that does the job forever. That is the entire business model of 140 years, priced out of existence by a printed sheet that costs less than a box of tablets. Now, the obvious objection, and I want to be fair with it, a lab demo is not a product. A publication is not a factory. So here is the part that moves it from interesting to dangerous. The film has already moved from the lab bench to a roll-to-roll production line. It is being produced by the meter, not by the square centimeter. It is already embedded in wall panels and countertop mats being sold in small quantities for exactly one application. Keeping kitchen surfaces clean without chemicals. People are already living with the thing. And the same group is working with an appliance company in Guangdong on the full countertop version that turns the whole surface of your kitchen into a machine. This is the pattern of every industry disruption you have ever seen. First, it enters where the incumbents are not looking, a mat, a panel, a novelty. Then it acquires a beachhead of users nobody counts. Then one day, the feature that made it a novelty is the feature that makes the old industry obsolete. That is the shape of what is coming. It just does not look like a dishwasher, so nobody is braced for it. Number 2. The machine that cleans with sound. This one is the oldest of the 6, and it is quietly having a renaissance. It is called ultrasonic cleaning, and it works like this. A transducer vibrates a tank of water at a frequency around 40,000 times per second. Those vibrations create microscopic bubbles in the water, millions of them. And when those bubbles collapse, they generate a tiny, violent shockwave at the surface of whatever is in the tank. That shockwave physically blasts the dirt off. Not dissolved. Blasted. The same principle cleans precision parts in aerospace factories, surgical instruments in hospitals, and jewelry in every watch shop on Earth. It is not exotic technology. It is industrial technology that has never been convincingly shrunk into a kitchen, and the Chinese manufacturers you have never heard of are the ones who decided to solve the shrinking problem seriously. The prototype that matters is a countertop unit built near Suzhou. You load plates into the tank vertically like records in a crate. You fill it with cold water. You press a button. No soap. 12 minutes later, you pull the plates out and they are clean enough to pass a CAFE's inspection. The numbers on it are what make the industry listen. It uses about 1/10 of the water of a conventional cycle. It runs at room temperature, so it never spends an hour heating water for dishes. And the cleaning action is mechanical, not chemical, which means the soap line disappears entirely. A machine that doesn't buy soap is a machine that doesn't feed the subscription. The honest weakness. Noise and drying. The transducers hum. The plates come out clean but wet, and wet is how you grow bacteria if you stack them wrong. The manufacturer's answer is a separate drying step, and that is where a second generation of prototypes is working right now. But wash side, the old machine has already lost the chemistry argument. Pressure is no longer the only way to remove food. Number 3. The machine that makes its own soap. This one is my favorite because it steals the product instead of replacing the machine. The principle is called electrolyzed water. Run a small current through tap water that contains a pinch of ordinary salt, and the water splits into 2 streams. One becomes strongly alkaline. The other becomes mildly acidic. And the acidic stream contains a compound called hypochlorous acid, the exact active chemistry you are buying in a bottle of bleach, but at a food-safe concentration. Food factories already use this on production lines. Kills bacteria on contact, it breaks down fats, and it leaves no residue because it literally decomposes back into water and salt. The only reason you have never seen it in a kitchen is cost. The generators were industrial devices that cost thousands of dollars. And in the last 3 years, Chinese manufacturers did to electrolysis what everyone did to every other technology. They shrunk it, they cheapened it, and they pointed it at the home. There are now undersink generators on the market for the price of a mid-range dishwasher. And the assistant that rinses your dishes is no longer detergent. It is water that a machine electrified 2 seconds before it hit your plate. Think about what that does to the cost structure. Detergent tablets, rinse aid, the special salt, the machine cleaner. In the electrified water world, every single one of those SKUs becomes decorative. The input is tap water. The additive is a pinch of salt that costs fractions of a cent per wash. The chemistry that the industry spends billions of dollars manufacturing, packaging, shipping, and advertising is replaced by a circuit board that already exists in half the appliances you own. The machines currently shipping are not yet perfect. Their water needs careful testing if you have hard water. The electrodes wear. But none of those are engineering problems with no solutions. They are cost problems, and cost problems are exactly what a manufacturing ecosystem at Chinese scale is best at solving. Once your rinse water has become a disinfectant, the dishwasher loses the second half of its job. And once the sanitizing logic stops being a feature of the box and becomes a feature of the tap, you have to ask what the box is actually for anymore. Number 4. The direct attack on the subscription itself. This one is not a machine at all. It is a chemistry set, and it is aimed precisely at the refill economy. A consortium that includes a large Chinese detergent manufacturer has been pushing what it calls a solid-state tablet, a mineral-based block, roughly the size of a candy bar, that does not dissolve and is not consumed the way old tablets are. The claim is the kind of claim that makes procurement departments laugh and then go quiet. One block replaces several years of conventional detergent. The cleaning molecules sit in a matrix that releases them only when water passes over the surface. You are not buying a tablet that dwindles. You are buying an engine that meters out the same cleaning chemistry for years from a single lump of material. The market reaction says everything. Conventional tablet makers have started running comparison advertising again, something the category had not done in decades. When an incumbent starts advertising against a competitor you have never heard of, that is how the incumbent tells you which competitor it is afraid of. And the math is worth sitting with because it is the whole story in miniature. The average household's detergent spend is roughly $120 a year. The solid-state blocks manufacturers claim an equivalent supply for about $30, once with no repeat purchases. Even at a generous 3-to-1 ratio of skepticism, the subscription loses. And a subscription that loses on price once behaves the way subscriptions always behave. It cuts quality to keep margin, which accelerates the defection, which is how you get a 100-year category entering its death spiral within a single product generation. What makes this one strategically important is that it does not require any new machinery. It works in the dishwasher you already own. You do not have to buy a Chinese machine to disrupt the Chinese supply chain. The disruption comes in the form of a block of minerals that fits in your hand. That is the thing about printing a new business model onto an old supply chain. The incumbents cannot route around it because they are the ones whose shelves it empties. Number 5. The faucet attachment that ends the machine versus hand washing argument. There is a quiet fact about the dishwasher that the industry does not love. It lost the argument with hand washing a long time ago. In most of the world, most dishes are still washed by hand because the machine costs too much, eats space, and takes 90 minutes to do what your hands do in 10. The dishwasher is a premium product that won in rich kitchens and nowhere else. The fine bubble faucet attachment attacks that from below. It screws onto an ordinary tap and injects billions of tiny bubbles into the water stream. Bubbles under 100 microns across, small enough that they carry a static charge and physically lift oil and food from a plate as the water runs. The water itself is doing the work. No soap required. You wash a greasy pan under running fine bubble water and the oil lifts off in sheets. It is sold today as a novelty for farmers rinsing vegetables and for restaurants cutting detergent bills. But read the patent families and you will see where it is going. Faucets with the fine bubble generator built in, at the price of a premium mixer tap. The countertop unit, the undersink generator, and the faucet end up as 3 different doors into the same future, and each one of them quietly makes the box under the counter optional. Why does a faucet matter in a video about killing the dishwasher? Because disruption almost never looks like a frontal assault. It looks like a downgrade that is good enough. The incumbent wins on performance. It fails on attention. It is a big, expensive, stationary appliance that you have to plan your life around. The fine bubble faucet is none of those things. It is invisible. It is already installed in the center of the kitchen where the work actually happens. It does not ask you to change your behavior, it improves the behavior you already have. And when the upgrade path for a technology is something you already own, you do not need a sales pitch. You need a product generation. Also honest here, hand washing with fine bubbles is not as clean as a hospital-grade cycle, and nobody serious claims otherwise. But the standard that matters in a kitchen is the standard of food safety, not laboratory sterility. And that bar, the fine bubble stream, clears it comfortably. When good enough is this easy and this cheap, the market for perfect but expensive and bolted to your floor starts to shrink from the edges. Number 6. And this is the one that sounds like a joke until you see the spec sheet. A Chinese home appliance group has been quietly road testing what it calls a kitchen service module. A unit that sits beside the sink, about the size of a microwave, and does the entire handling loop. You hand it a dirty plate. It senses the soiling with a camera. It wipes the loose food into a waste drawer with a mechanical arm. It runs the plate through a combined wash and dry chamber that uses ultrasonic transducers and electrolyzed water together, the crash of numbers 2 and 3, and it hands the plate back dry in under 4 minutes, no soap, no human contact with a single dirty surface in between. The spec that makes the industry pay attention is not the cleaning. It is the sanitizing. The combined method carries a published third-party test showing bacterial reduction comparable to the hottest cycle of a conventional machine. That was the last uncontested claim the box had. Once a shoebox on your counter matches the disinfection story of a cabinet on your floor, the box has lost its only remaining moat. And now you can see the end of the category taking shape, because none of these 6 technologies needs the dishwasher to exist. The film wants your countertop. The ultrasound wants your sink. The electrolyzer wants your water line. The solid tablet wants your detergent drawer. The fine bubble generator wants your tap. And the service module wants to be a different kind of appliance entirely, one that does not look like a dishwasher, is not sold in the dishwasher aisle, and is not priced against dishwashers. That is how categories die. Not by being defeated, by being dissolved. The typewriter was not killed by a better typewriter. It was killed by a word processor that did not call itself anything related. The camera did not lose to a better camera. It lost to a phone that had a camera as a feature. The dishwasher is the typewriter of the kitchen, and the replacements are not coming to steal its customers. They are coming to make the question of buying a dishwasher stop being asked. Now, the promised part. Which of these is actually shipping today with real customers? The answer is the one from the cold open. The catalytic film. It went from the publication to the roll-to-roll line faster than anyone in the industry expected, because the manufacturing path was trivial. It is a printed material, not an appliance. And it is being sold in small volumes for the one application its makers can defend first: the chemical-free kitchen surface. It is already in demonstration apartments in 2 Chinese cities. It is already in the test kitchens of 3 appliance brands, 2 of which are household names outside China. And the order book, by the standard of a startup, is real. The people behind it are not waiting for permission. They are printing the future by the meter and selling it wherever the old industry is not looking. That is the whole trick of this story. The thing that kills the dishwasher does not look like a dishwasher, does not sound like a dishwasher, and does not compete on dishwashing. It competes on everything around the dishwashing that the dishwasher was never able to sell you. Let me be fair to the machine that has been in your kitchen for years. It works. It always works. It works on a humid, lightless evening in a basement apartment. It runs a certified sanitation cycle that a film and a faucet cannot yet guarantee. And if you own one, nothing in this video is a reason to throw it away tonight. The film needs light and it is slow. The ultrasonic tank does not dry. The electrolyzer needs water quality management. The solid tablet's claims deserve the skepticism of every first-generation product in history. The faucet is not a sanitizer. And the robot, for now, is a robot on a test floor, not on your counter. So this is not, and I want to be careful about this, not a prediction that every dishwasher disappears by 2030. It is a description of what is already in production, already being sold, and already spreading through the segments the dishwasher industry doesn't defend. The question is not whether these technologies work. It is how fast they cross from the countertop mat to the default kitchen, and which incumbent has a plan for a competitor that simply does not want their money. Watch the incumbents now because their behavior is the clearest signal of how serious this is. The first sign was the standards fight. A cartridge economy cannot survive if the refill becomes optional, so the machine maker's natural move is to push for safety standards that only full-cycle heat sanitizing cabinet machines can meet. That fight is happening right now quietly in two standards bodies. Watch it. The faster the standards get written, the more threatened the incumbents feel. The second sign is acquisition. When you trace the patent filings around photocatalytic surfaces and fine bubble generation, the buyers are not startups. Some of the applications are already assigned to the domestic appliance giants, which tells you they have decided the future is cheaper to buy than to fight. And the third sign is the one I find strangest. Silence. The detergent companies, the machine makers, the trade press, none of them have published a single serious public analysis of the film, the electrolyzer, or the solid-state block, even though the publications are right there. Nobody is talking about it. That silence is not ignorance. It is a negotiation. Step back and look at the shape of it because this is bigger than dishes. For 140 years, cleaning your plates required a machine, a chemical supply chain, and a standing monthly cost. The connection between those three things, hardware, chemistry, subscription, was the entire basis of an industry measured in tens of billions of dollars. What China just built in 6 parallel technologies is a decoupling. The hard work of cleaning is moving out of the machine and into the surface. The chemistry is moving out of the bottle and into the circuit. And the subscription is being priced at zero by people who are not even trying to sell you anything else. The trap we built for ourselves, the machine that burns electricity to make heat, the heat that makes the weather worse, the money extracted from every kitchen on a schedule, was never a law of nature. It was a coincidence of manufacturing economics and patent timing that lasted 140 years. Coincidences end. And when the refill stops being something you buy, the whole shape of the kitchen changes with it. The box that owned your water bill, your soap drawer, and a cubic meter of your floor is suddenly just a box. And the thing that replaces it doesn't need a plug at all. If this landed with you, if you feel like you just watched the first act of an industry ending, hit like. It takes a serious amount of digging to pull one of these together, and it genuinely helps the channel. Subscribe and turn on the bell so the next one finds you. Every paper, every university announcement, every figure I quoted, all of it is linked in the description below. Go check them. That's the point. And here's what I want in the comments. You're standing in the kitchen of the future, and you have to choose today. The machine you already own, that always works, that sanitizes on a certified cycle, that owns your water bill, your soap drawer, and your counter space. Or the gray film on the counter. Free forever. No chemicals but slower. And it can't promise you the same reassurance on a dark, humid night. Which one are you taking? Tell me which and tell me why. I read every single one. And there's a second layer to this story I didn't even touch: what happens to the wastewater, the detergent chemistry, and the companies that built their entire logistics empire on shipping you soap. That one is even stranger, and it's already half written. I'll see you in the next video.